Hello, Miss. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you today?
Good.
Good, good.
Miss, I have a question
Mm-hmm.
about like the project. I
Yes.
use like photos. Is that okay, or we have to like, for example, put like a little bit of text on the slides?
You can include the photos, but yeah, I would. You don't have to put a complete paragraph because that's not what I want.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you can give like a brief explanation about things. But like I said before, you don't have to give like a full explanation. Just something that I can connect the picture to the words that you put in there.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. Yeah, you I don't want like the project to be only words. The pictures are great, but yeah, something that at least can give me an idea of what I'm seeing in the picture besides the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Miss.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, so we are going to continue um with what we were discussing the previous class. Well, what do you remember we discussed about the previous class? What were we talking about?
The layout.
Okay, so we were talking about the layout. What else?
About the different layers that we have at the classroom and why it's important to have like a different layouts.
Okay, yeah. So in this case, we pretty much covered uh, like layout in general, and as is mentioning, why it is important to have that in the classroom or to design that before the class starts. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw this on Friday, and I do have one thing extra, which is this part. It says, as teachers, we must arrange our classroom layout thinking about how beneficial will be for our students, small groups, small or large groups. Um, and this is pretty much connected to this part. I mean, both of them are pretty much saying the same thing. We have to think about our students. Now, in this case, uh, why do you think that every time we plan the classroom layout, we are thinking about the students and we are not thinking about me, teacher? Why do you think so?
Because the students will be the ones that will benefit from um, your attempt to improve the classroom environment.
Okay, so they are benefited by that. They will definitely be benefited by the fact that um, whatever I'm designing is for them. Why
Mhm.
do you think it's for them and not for me? Because it would be easier for me as a teacher to design the classroom layout and make it more comfortable for me, right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's easy. But why do you think I'm thinking about them and them being comfortable and not me? Besides, like the benefit of that.
I guess we benefit even though that we don't know that we have a benefit with that because like the students can like develop another skills
Mm-hmm.
with another type of classmate and not all one's the same and actually they can work together better.
Exactly. So one of the thing is that like the fact that we have this classroom layout thought previous than the class. You know what? I know that I'm going to move these chairs over here, make some circles in here. So everything that I'm
Mhm.
doing, I'm designing. But I have to think about not only the layout, right? I need to think about like something as they're saying, like, okay, I'm going to put Andrea with Marisol because I know that something that they are going to do is going to benefit both of them. And then I'm gonna put Aster, Alejandro, and Ulises together because I know that whatever I do is going to whatever they do is going to benefit them as I arrange the class for them. Now, what about well, and I don't know, I don't know if all of you went to public schools or not, or if you went to private schools. But for example, what do you remember when you were in elementary school or in middle school? How do you remember the classroom layout? Like what is like if you think about your classroom layout in elementary school or middle
Well,
school, high school, how do you remember it?
okay, well, I remember when I was at junior high school, it was a public school.
Mhm.
We were about 40 students, but the most important is the great control that the teacher had over us,
Okay.
even though we were almost 40 students.
All right. So yeah, in this case, normally, for example, for us, well, at least here, um, unfortunately, like the limit of students in the classroom, especially in public schools or schools from the government, uh, we tend to have a lot of students, 40, sometimes 50 in one classroom if it's possible. So it is a little bit, im- I don't want to say impossible because we cannot say that a classroom layout cannot be planned. It can be for every class or every classroom, but sometimes it's difficult to see this wonderful classroom layout similar to what we see in a movie or something in a government school or in a public school because of the amount of chairs or the number of students. So it's difficult. But if you had imagine that you are teaching in a classroom that has 40 chairs and you need to control your students because you want them to learn. You don't want them to be like only sitting and that's it. No, you want them to learn. They have to be benefited from that. What would you do? So you go to this school in whatever place and you have 40 chairs, 40 students, and you want them to learn. What do you do?
The first thing could be maybe to to set out the rules of
Okay.
of discipline inside the classroom.
Okay. So in this case, first of all, yeah. So we have to think about classroom management. One of the thing, one of the important things that we have to do always is set the rules. Now, you have 40 students, right? It's not easy. So you have 40
Mhm.
students. Do you think that as a teacher you have to like impose the rules or should they participate in making the rules for everyone to agree? What do you think?
I think the teacher has to be the one to put the rules because if
Okay.
there are too many students, so they will be like taking advantage of, oh, I'm gonna put the rules because we are more than one.
Okay.
So I remember when I one time I was in a private school and we were like 40 41 in a classroom, and I don't know how the teachers had the control of
Hmm.
that. I mean, that was the first time I was in a large classroom,
Hmm.
so I don't remember how they managed it, but I knew that when the teacher come, we had to do like a protocol
Okay.
uh, to the to begin the class and to end the class.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So you pretty much were following something, a protocol, as you mentioned,
Hmm.
uh, during and after. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, so in this case, that's one. I can, especially for example, if I am in charge or I am in front of a large class, 40 students, 40 plus students. And you know, I need to know first who they are, obviously, but I also have to have this set of rules that I know that I have to cover, me, teacher. But you maybe not only you can take advantage of the number of students. You have 40 students. Every student, every mind is a universe. Can you think of ideas in which you can use the students for them to create rules or no?
Mm,
I just have to be uh like a work team,
Okay.
like to see like, okay, these are like my ideas, and maybe ask like, what rules do you want to set up in the classroom?
Exactly.
Because there is like as you say, like a different ways of thinking, and probably I didn't think about, I don't know, let's say, to every Monday or every Friday change the place to the students. But for them, they are a good idea because they will get bored to be with the same people around, and
Mhm,
could be like, okay, that will be a good idea.
mhm. Exactly. So one of the things that we have to do, so especially classroom management, I need to have control. Classroom management is having control, yes, but classroom management is having control in a way that students can actually benefit, like where they can learn. So you know what? Maybe as Astrid is saying, I'm going to have them work in teams or in groups. So what do I do? You know what? I have 40 students. I'm going to make um, maybe, well, I'm not good with numbers, so I'm just going to invent. I don't know, 5 groups of 5 people, let's say. I don't know how many they are. Honestly, I'm not good with math, so I'm not going to be doing any math. But so whatever number that comes, um, what I'm going to give them is an activity. I have to give them
Mhm.
an activity. You know what? Aster, Marisol, Andrea, Dana, and Alejandro, you 5, you're gonna work together, and then Andrea, Hassan, Marla, Ulises, you 4 work together. This is what you're going to do. I want you to create your own rules. In the end, every group has to present their rules, but from that, we're going to take the information. That way, we are making a collaborative environment from the very beginning, even if it's only for them to create the rules. That's how they start. That's how we start building collaborative work, and how we start building a little bit of control in them. So we have to be able to know how to arrange them in teams, in pairs, in groups of 3, whatever you want to put them. But they need to know that they are going to work together with you, not you giving them only the task and that's it. They have to see that it's something that is, um, they have to see as teamwork also with the teacher. If they don't see it like that, then they are going to say, you know what, it's just the typical teacher that only wants to come here and control me. And that's when the learning stops. If they immediately feel like, you know what, Hilda, the teacher, is only here to tell me what to do and not listen to me, that's when the learning stops. They don't feel comfortable anymore. So that's something that we have to have in mind. And it is something that you're going to be actually working on a little bit in the following classes. Um, Now, what questions do you guys have with this before I change the slide? All good?
Yeah,
Right.
it is clear. It is
Yes.
clear.
All right. So for the next activity, it is this. So I have classroom layout advantages and disadvantages. In this case, we have discussed a little bit of this as a whole group, but I want you to share your opinion. What are your your thoughts about advantages and disadvantages of classroom layout in general, whatever you can think of classroom layout? But I'm gonna ask you to work in groups of 3 or in pairs, depending how many we are right now. I need to check. And I want you to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of this classroom layout, okay? I am going to give you 7-8 minutes for you guys to have enough time to discuss. Think about your experience as a student. Think about your experience as a teacher if you are teaching, or if you have friends who are teachers, or if you have seen something on TV about teaching and classroom layout. But I want you to think about advantages and disadvantages, okay? Yes?
Very well.
All right, now I'm gonna send the picture to remind anyway, so you can have it. But let's see. We are 9 people, so I think we can make 3 groups of 3 people. I'm sorry, I'm not good at math. Anything that is related to numbers, I'm going to take a while to actually say something to you guys. All right, so I'm gonna do this. I'm going to put Alejandro, I'm going to put Ulises, and I'm going to put Hassan together. I'm going to put Andrea, Andrea Torres. I'm gonna put Andrea with Dana and Marla, and then I'm going to put in the third group Andrea Beltran, right? That's your last name.
Beltrán del Río, yeah.
Yeah, Beltran del Rio, right? So, and Marisol together, okay? So the 3 of you are going to work together. Please accept the invitation to the breakout room, and I'm gonna send the picture to remind so you can have it, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Eh, I think, from my point of view, I cannot find out disadvantage, but we do not have to forget the main requirement is to have enough space or enough room to make to try to make the changes,
Yeah.
because if we do not have enough space, so we are going to be limited.
So that it could be an disadvantage.
because if
Uh-huh.
like if the classroom we have like 40 students or more, so the teacher, he will not be able to move around the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's one of a disadvantage.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when that teacher eventually took us out from the classroom to go to a bigger space.
Well, I think the advantage it will be like it will be an order in the classroom as well, and it will be like a when we're working in teams or the students are working in teams, it's a way where they can move in the classroom, but actually can mm, be grouping in a right way, like not making a lot of mess, and it could be like I don't know, a good way of working together. And but the disadvantage in that part, it could be like the amount of people inside the classroom.
Okay. So it will be comfortable, um, maybe
Mhm.
fun.
And if the yes, but if the teacher doesn't know how to apply the classroom layout, it could be messy, a little bit messy
Okay.
because the students will be like moving around the classroom and they didn't know what to do and make like a lot of noise.
Mhm.
And
Noisy, noisy. Okay. Um, I think. Hmm,
I'm sorry.
mm, I don't know what to think about as an advantage. Like the in Alta Alliance has to be like one students that, for example, work good or doesn't work good, or in the Alta group has to be the same, like the same type of students, or no?
For what? For each layout or?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I hadn't thought about that. Like how certain layouts maybe yeah, because if you have either the shy kids or the distracted kids in the back versus in the front, um yeah, I know I definitely think certain layouts are better for certain students than others.
Mm-hmm.
Um like personally for very large classrooms, they usually do the rows and columns with the desks, but I think that's not good because the teacher can't really walk in between the desks if the teacher's like large. I think for big classrooms, ideally it would be maybe tables or something like that.
Yeah. Actually, you make me think that when I was in fourth grade, the classroom were like super small, like really small, and the teacher like couldn't like go there and check it out because we're like, I don't know, will be like
Taking time from the class, you know. So you, because you need to invest a little bit of minutes to make the arrangement, so it will be better to do it in advance that you begin your class. For example, suppose that the arrangement that you can make can take you 15 minutes, for example. So if you do it once that your class has begun, you are taking out time from the class because you will only have 45 minutes. So yeah, as a teacher, you have to take that point in mind in order to avoid be wasting time making the arrangement. If you do it in advance, but well, it depends because you will be able to do that if 1 hour before does not exist any other class in that room. I mean, if it is free, you can do it. But if that room is busy, but you cannot make any arrangement. So there are some things to take into consideration. But if you get the opportunity to make the arrangement before you begin your class, it will be
All right, let's just wait for the rest to come back. I don't think they're going to take long.
Teacher, do you know by any chance if we are going to have talleres?
No, during exam week you don't have workshops.
Yes.
Well, I asked yesterday, and no, you don't have.
until next week, maybe, teacher.
I don't know when you finish. Yeah, I mean probably next week. As far as I remember, only one week, which is when we start the partials or the quizzes exams.
Mhm.
You guys don't have workshops, so I
Okay.
guess that it would be only this week. But they will probably tell you. I'm not completely sure.
Yeah, I guess the next week is going to be like Lily's Got Talent.
Oh yes, that's true. I
Mhm.
don't remember when is Lily's Got Talent. Are you guys going to participate?
Yes.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right, very good. Maybe I'll have an opportunity to see you if you participate. I have an English class, but hopefully I'll be able to make it. Let's see. All right. Okay, so we're gonna continue. And I want you to share. So first, we're going to stick with the advantages. So what are some of the advantages that you could that you discussed with your classmates in your group about classroom layout?
Advantages
Yeah, advantages.
that you can have control about the classroom,
Okay.
that everybody participate,
Hmm.
and the students develop different skills.
Okay. So in this case, we're talking about mostly like students again, and we go back to what we said. Students are getting benefited from this. What about the rest? What did you guys?
Well, any kind of layout
Mhm.
that you can implement inside the classroom always will be an advantage in the process of learning.
Okay. Yes. So in this case, yeah, every layout you design or you plan should be considering their learning, not me
Mm.
teaching. So that's one. I mean, obviously, it is implied whatever classroom layout that I do is also going to have me as a participant, as like the teacher. But
Mhm.
learning is what should come up or come out from this. Sorry. Okay. What about the rest? What is another advantage that you could think of?
Mm, advantage or disadvantage? Sorry.
Advantages.
Advantage.
We put comfortable classroom,
Okay.
fun classroom,
Mhm.
As a teacher, you have the control as well,
Yes.
and that's it.
Hmm. So yeah, in this case, for example, you mentioned something important as well. For example, fun. So in this case, fun. I'm thinking about having students engaged also. So I mean, learning has to come out from the environment where they are. So the classroom layout should be an environment of them learning, but learning also is connected to being engaged. So having fun, being connected to what the teacher is saying, or the teacher being connected to the students, that's an advantage that normally comes out of planning your classroom layout. Okay. What about disadvantages? What do you guys think about disadvantages of this?
Well, one that we found out is not to have enough room to
Okay.
make any layout. And another thing was concerning with the time that you have to invest to make the layout. Uh, we should recommend to try to do it in advance before your class has begun.
Hmm. So in this case, normally the classroom layout that you plan or you design or whatever you want to arrange, you should actually include it in the lesson plan, or at least have something in mind in the lesson plan, because if you like if you do it in the like in the moment as you're teaching, what can happen if you don't plan and you decide, I want to start moving the classroom and start making these changes, what can happen during the class?
Maybe some of the students are going to feel uncomfortable and they will prefer the other classroom layout or the other way, and they are going maybe to stop learning
Hmm.
or to stop like uh, capturing the learning. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, yeah, like being engaged. Yeah, one, like they won't be engaged to what they are doing. Maybe, you know what, I start giving the instructions, and then I tell them, you know what, stand up, and you three work together and move to this side of the classroom. Do you think they are going to remember the instructions? Honestly, like imagine, you know what, I tell you, you know what, you're going to make a poster about, I don't know, 4th of July, and I want you to make some drawings and use colors and whatever. Okay, and then the students say, yes, teacher. And then I said, you know what, now Andrea, Dana, Hassan, and Ulises, you four work together. You four work together, you four work together. Stand up and move around. Do you think they are going to remember the instructions?
No, because they are focused on move it to another place.
So they are going to be moving. So what am I going to do again? I'm going to repeat one more time the
Mhm.
instructions. And what's going to happen if I repeat the instructions?
They will understand.
Okay, they will understand, but time is going to be wasted. I mean,
Mhm.
that's one of the things that we cannot. I mean, it is a factor. Timing is an important factor because every minute counts. So that's one of the things that we have to consider.
What if you have them write the directions the first time you explain them, and then when they get up to move around, they can already have them written?
Yeah, in this case, it really that will depend on you as a teacher. Like, obviously the classroom as well. Maybe for us, for example, in Relaciones Culturales, since we have the smart boards, we can either use a PowerPoint presentation or have them, like me, teacher, I can write them on the board as well. So they have it there. What are they going to do? They're just going to go back to the board and just check the instructions. They can actually write the instructions as well, as you're mentioning, and that way you don't have to go back and explain them, and you're gonna be wasting time. So yeah, those are the things that you can think in advance for them to be working working with the rhythm that you want them to work on. So yeah, that can be an advantage, and that is a strategy that we can definitely use for them not to waste that time that we often need in a classroom. So yeah, that's a strategy. Any other disadvantage that you could think of?
That we as a teacher can choose or didn't choose the correct life for the classroom.
Yeah, so in this case, a disadvantage, and it's I guess something related to what Alejandro mentioned, the size of the classroom, the number of students, and that we don't really get to choose, this is the classroom that I want. That's a disadvantage, but we definitely have to plan what we are going to do in order to we need to plan considering considering the students that you have, and making sure that whatever you plan is thinking about their learning. That's one thing. Any other disadvantage that you could think of?
We put messy classroom, noisy,
Yeah.
and rebel students.
Okay. Yes. So normally, sometimes, for example, I mean, I don't know if it happens, or if it has happened to you guys, or when you were learning. There are like these external noises that you cannot control because they are from another house, or they are from a car that is passing by or whatever, and the students get distracted. So we need to think about like those things. For example, right now online, and I'm sure that you have seen the memes or whatever on Facebook or something, that you're having a class here with your students online, and then the people who are driving go with the music, and like the people from like camiones de la basura and stuff like that, and like all of the noise, that background noise gets distracted, makes you makes the students get distracted. So those are the things that we cannot control, but can definitely be prepared. If I know that at 8 in the morning, the people from the people who take the garbage away are going to come near, I'm gonna mute my microphone for a little bit so that they can pass, because they have this music and they are going to get distracted. Even me as a teacher can get distracted and can lose track of what I'm saying. So yeah. All right. Any other thing that you want to share before we continue? All right. Okay. Yeah, I think we have covered a lot. Now, let's see. In here, I have, it says a classroom to support teaching and learning. Okay, who would like to help me read this, the information from this box?
Me.
Okay.
U.S. environment psychologist Professor Robert Sommer mentioned the following about classroom layout. The teacher's educational philosophy will be reflected in the layout of the classroom. The teacher should be able to justify the arrangement of desks and chairs based on certain educational goals. There is no D classroom layout for all activities.
Okay.
Sommer, 1977.
Okay. So what do you understand by reading this quote? Like what comes to your mind? What is Professor Robert trying to tell you about classroom layout?
Well, that maybe the design of the layout is up to you as a teacher.
Okay, so that the design one is up to you. Of course, you need, again, we go back and we are always going to go back to students' needs, what it's best for them.
Yeah, yeah.
That's one.
Mhm.
What about the rest? What do you guys understand about this?
I
This
understand.
this is a disadvantage, no?
Uh,
Like the layout is now fit for all activities.
Okay, so it can
Mhm.
be taken again. It's the perspective that we all have. It's not necessarily a disadvantage, but I mean, again, we have to see the two sides of the coin. Yes, it can be an advantage. It can also be a disadvantage. I mean, it depends on how you want to see it. But yeah, what about the rest?
I understood another thing.
Okay, yeah, everybody's gonna have a different perspective on this.
That it says the teacher's educational philosophy will be reflected in the layout of the classroom. I understand this way. Maybe by my experience or by I have learned since I was in, I don't know, elementary to university, that I prefer to or enjoy the classes if I am in the floor, touching material, being more kinesthetic or dynamic. So probably my classes will be that way. I understand the code that way.
So yeah, again, in this case, normally, and it can be sometimes a mistake or an error that we teachers have. That, for example, I am kinesthetic or I am more visual, I am more tactile, for example. So you know what, I'm going to plan the activities like that for them to work. For me, they work. I don't know if they're gonna work for them, so I'm gonna have to try to do a mix of the things. So yeah, it's what in that case I'm thinking about me as a teacher and the activities that I can give them so they can work. Okay.
Yeah.
What about the rest? Any other idea that you could think of? Or what did you guys understand about it?
That actually it concerns about your background as a student and actually how you teach to the others.
Okay, as
So,
uh-huh.
well, as Alejandro said, it concerns of you. It's up to you, like how and decide because you used to work in certain way and you are like actually projected in the classroom.
Yeah. And eventually we're gonna talk about that. But I would say that's we're gonna talk about that during the second part of the second partial. But yeah, sometimes, and again, it is everybody's perspective, and a perspective is different in every person. What I can see from my point of view, that if I make activities, for example, having them move around, it's because, as Dana is saying, it worked for me. But you need to like identify, you need to analyze your students. Is it really working for them as whatever activity worked for you? Because if it's not working for them, then they have different learning styles. Everything that you have seen so far in Lely, learning styles, giving instructions, having them work in pairs, everything is connected to classroom management and everything is connected to classroom layout. So everything that you see in other subjects related to teaching, ICQs, CCQs, everything in the end is going to come to classroom management. How good are you in good classroom management? Okay. But we're gonna break everything in steps in the following classes. And let's see, what time is it? It's 9:39. I'm gonna stop right now because I have to tell you what you're going to do for the following classes. Give me 1 second. All right, I do have one assignment, and this one is an assignment, but it's in teams or in groups. It is already uploaded in the platform. it's under the name of assignment 1.3 classroom, and it's seating arrangements. As it says in here, it is a team presentation, classroom management, blah, 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 the same thing. And then in here it says, for the following assignment, you will be working in teams. The activity, it says, you will create a PowerPoint presentation as a team, and you will deliver the presentation to the rest of your peers. The presentation has to cover the following topics. I already put the teams together. Team 1 is going to talk about seating arrangement. What is it? I want you to explain briefly what is seating arrangement, and then the types of seating, which in this case would be traditional rows. This, you have to explain the interaction with students or with each other in traditional rows, the atmosphere, the environment of the classroom, and the behavior in these types of seating arrangements. This is for team 1. Team 2, the same thing. Every team is going to explain what is seating arrangement. Obviously, every team is going to have maybe a little bit of a different perspective. The type of arrangement will be U-shaped. That's the name of the seating arrangement. The same. You're going to explain about the interaction of the students in this type of seating arrangement, the atmosphere of the class and the work that students have when they are sitting like this, and the behavior. And team 3, again, seating arrangement, but you're gonna talk about the type of seating arrangement that is called cluster. Speak about interaction, atmosphere, and behavior. Now, in here, this is important. It says, as a starting point, you will use the material that is uploaded in the platform. There is a PowerPoint presentation already with most of the information. It is called the classroom and its seating arrangement. However, as it says in here, to deliver a fuller presentation, research more about the topics from other sources. So go to Google. If you have a book, you can use your book, whatever. But I want you to make the presentation fuller, as it says in here, with information, okay? Because I am already giving you the PowerPoint where you can find everything, but I do want you to use other sources to make it more, to make the information deeper, okay? Now, the thing that is important in here, the online session from tomorrow is 24, is going to be offline. So tomorrow we're not going to have an online class. You're going to take that time to work with your team, if possible, and finish the presentation, or at least cover a big part of the presentation so you can have sufficient time to finish. Why? Because the presentations are going to be delivered between Friday and next Wednesday, the 30th, okay? However, the material should be uploaded in the platform by September 27th, which is Sunday, okay? So it is only one presentation. Only one person has to upload the presentation, not everybody, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Questions with this?
No.
All right, everything is in the platform. Again, tomorrow we're not going to have an online session. It's going to be offline. You guys can work around that time with your team. Now, the teams are gonna be like this: Andrea Torres, Carolina and Hassan, You guys are gonna be a team, so try to get in touch with Caro, so she can work with you guys. Okay. The second team is going to be Aster, Dana, Ulises, and Marla. The same. You guys get in touch, or well, most of you are here actually. And the third team is going to be Andrea Beltran, Alejandro, Genesis, and Marisol. So try to get in touch with Genesis so you can work with her. Okay.
Okay.
All right. What questions do you guys have with this?
I don't,
Don't have
I don't think so,
questions.
but when we were tomorrow, when we start doing it, if we have a question, we ask you on Remind.
Yeah, ask me on Remind, please. Send me a message directly to Remind. I'm gonna be there so you can ask whatever question you have.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So then for now, that's it, guys. Thank you very much for coming, and I'll see you on Friday, okay? But whatever question you guys have, please send me a message to Remind.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
okay, sure.
Thank you, Miss.
Alrighty.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you. You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.